Coach, it just seemed like in that second quarter, shots just stopped falling, and I'm curious what you maybe attribute that to. Were they good looks? Were the Magic being a little more physical than they were in the first quarter?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, like, I think as important was that they made everything, and uh, there were a few situations that I thought we defended well, and they made plays and made shots. And when that happens, we can't get deflated by that. And it's hard, when you keep seeing the ball go in, you're taking it out of the net, and you contrast that to the early part of the game. So in any event, and then it was a game where we had a lot of really good looks. We were on the rim. And I think you shoot 39%, and it's hard to win like that. But I don't. Sometimes you have tough nights shooting the ball. But I thought for the most part, we did some good things to get those, those shots at the rim, and they were good looks, and they're shots we make. So there's some games you say, you could have done X, Y, and Z, and then there's other games you say, well, we got to put the ball in the basket, and it's usually a little bit of both. But I thought we really competed. It was a choppy game with a lot of things. So that's another story.
Austin McCall, Peachtree Hoops. I saw you talk to Zach earlier in the game. He was getting the ball off. He career high in rebounds tonight. What do you guys think when he's going coast to coast with the ball?
I love it. He's confident and aggressive in transition, and as I said before, he's going to continue to get better, and that's something. Sometimes with 27, 26 games left, you can feel like I've done this to get to this point. Now let's play. And I think that's a mistake. When you have, a couple months left, like you can keep improving. And, that's not just for Zach, but that's for, all our guys, particularly given, we're integrating three players that, I don't know, it's their third game. I think that's right. So that's, I'm not using that as an excuse in any way, but that's a real thing. And last time we played these guys, we had Larry and Veet, so that's been something, to be honest, that I think our team has dealt with incredibly well throughout the course of the season. Guys like Mo and Dom who, hadn't played for us up until, a couple weeks ago, that came in and gave us good minutes. And, we got to continue to work and continue to, get connected and continue to compete like we did tonight. I mean, you should feel good. I feel good about how we battled. So,
Coach, you talked about the game being choppy. How did you feel like your guys handled their frustration level with officiating, maybe not going their way at times?
Yeah, there's always a point where you need to adjust. But, we had 5 team fouls and they had none with about 2 minutes in the third quarter. And, you can get focused on some of those things. And, the things that you can't control, you try to not, internalize and fixate on. But that said, like, you go out and play the game and you're playing that hard and the game's that physical. It's easy for me to say that, but obviously you always want to keep your composure. But, I thought our guys came back together during those moments and really continue to compete. It felt at times like we were down more, and you look up and, it's a 6-point game. And we talked about that a lot in timeouts, and, I thought our guys, again, responded well to that.
Coach, I thought Clint Capella did a few things that didn't show up in the box score. I thought I saw him get a couple deflections, just some defensive plays. Curious as to what you saw to him his first game after missing 8.
Yeah, we've seen Clint block a shot. We've seen him defensive rebound. One of the things I think that he did tonight and he's done before is, he when he's locked in, down in a stance, defending out on the floor, I think sometimes because he's, a center, that you can lose track of those things. And he really took a challenge in the second half, particularly in pick and roll. It was good to see.
Coach, with guys like George and Onyeka and I think, I can't remember who else, but a couple foul troubles, it gave you an opportunity to look at a couple different rotations. What did you like about some of those looks that you got tonight?
Yeah, you'd rather have that happen in other ways, but that was the case. Dom in particular, I think, came in and gave us really good minutes. Got a tip in, made a shot, and he's a really smart player, and he facilitates a lot of things that sometimes don't show up in the box score. And those guys are, I think he's 21, and I think Mo may be 21 too. I know they're all somewhere in there. It's hard to keep track. So the biggest thing for those guys is just get out there and embrace the opportunity they have and compete and be unselfish. And that's what they do. And the results usually follow that, whether they do game to game or minute to minute. If you continue to do that, I think over time, good things happen.
Coach, you talked about the three guys we got back in trade, Karras, George, and Terrence.
Looking all around.
I wanted to ask you in particular about Karras. What do you see his role as a Hawk, and what do you think he can do for you off the bench?
Yeah, I think, the obvious thing is Karras has the ability to put the ball in the basket. Not something that gets talked about a lot is, the way he defends. I think he takes a lot of pride defensively, both guarding the ball and off the ball. And that's something that's really, really important. And so he has the ability to create for himself, obviously, but also for other guys. And he's unselfish. And it's hard when, you're learning new plays. You got to know an under out of bounds play and a side out of bounds play. And all those situations can be a lot to absorb. And, I think all three of those guys, have embraced that and are doing really well, with those things, trying to get familiarity and then compete at the same time. Okay.